disappointing week, a sub 6150 close, and more importantly, the market really reacted heavily and acutely to some key earnings, and lots lined up come next week as well. You've got Hindalco, which is slated to come out with its earnings on November 12th. The other big earnings from index heavyweights, SBI, BPCL, ONGC, Cipla, Sun Pharma, Tata Steel, which has seen a significant amount of run-up, especially post-ArcelorMittal earnings. So it would be interesting to see what Tata Steel delivers, in particular what they do with the European side of the business. Tata Power, JP Associates, sure enough, next week is going to be one hectic one.
Oh yes, indeed. So lots of key earnings. Let's discuss some of those and get your research team members to speak about what is it that some of these companies are likely to do. First, getting Gargi to speak about the entire metal index, Hindalco, Tata Steel, Coal India. There's also a non-index sale, but focus on these three. Gargi Johnson to speak about what could these companies do in terms of numbers. Gargi.
Well, it's a week filled with metals earnings, and look at Tata Steel. They're going to come out with numbers next week. The sales number, that's expected to go up 2% on a consolidated basis. The net profit this time around expected close to 400 crore rupees. Remember, they had a loss of almost 360 crore last year. The operating margins, in fact, expected to improve. Their 10% is what we are estimating this time around. Remember that Tata Steel India, though the sales volumes have gone up, we will see some decline coming in terms of realizations, mainly because steel prices have been lower, but also remember that coking coal prices have come down, and that's what's going to cushion margins this time around. A slight increase in margins is also what you can expect. EBITDA per ton seen at almost $236 for the Indian operations. For the European operations, which is the most important one for Tata Steel, $20 per ton is what we are estimating this time around on the EBITDA front. And the steel sales volume this time around just a decline of almost 4.5%. Look at a Hindalco too. There we are expecting an uptick of almost 11% in sales and 25% kind of an uptick coming in for the profit front. The margins too this time expected to be slightly better than what we had seen last year. Also take a look at Coal India. That's another important earning for next week. Net profit expected to go up by 10%, and the sales, that's going to be up almost 9%. Remember, realizations have improved. We've seen the sales volumes also going up, but the most important factor for Coal India is the management commentary on the buyback as well as the OFS, plus what is going to happen on the labour strike front in the month of December.
Okay, Gargi, leave it at that. It's going to be extremely crucial for metals come next week. Prakash, your take on Tata Steel? The expectations are running pretty high.
I know, and that's worrisome when you have expectations, and the fundamentals kind of belie that. The disappointment is even sharper. But my sense is, Tata Steel reminds the Tata Group that everything foreign may not be great the way you've seen Tata Motors do so well because of the foreign venture. Tata Steel actually sees that as a drag. So unless there's some sort of a restructuring that they announce or they talk about, which they have hinted in the last round of, meets with analysts, that they would start restructuring their operations in Europe, particularly moving it out of Netherlands. It could start paying off well. I would look at more of the commentary and then take a call on buying into Tata Steel. But at this point, probably ideal time to book profits similar to Tata Motors.
Okay, 355 has been a one-way run for sure for Tata Steel. Some other key earnings include the largest pharma company, which is Sun Pharma, as well as Cipla, and Darshan joined in to speak about what could these two companies do. Darshan.
The two big pharma names that will come out with numbers next week. The big one will be Sun Pharma, obviously. On a year-on-year basis, we are anticipating a 42% growth in their sales to almost 3,785 crores. The adjusted profit will be up close to 39% to 1,254 crores. On a reported basis, it will be much higher given the fact that last year they had taken a hit of over 500 crore rupees on the Protonix litigation. Margins are expected to come in at 45.3%. Now, some of the factors, the Taro number will be consolidated. The rupee will work in favor of Sun Pharma. The US markets are doing extremely well for the company, and the brand and exclusivity in the US will aid the company. On the domestic front, we are expecting 10 to 15% growth to come in, and the rest of the market will also be strong. Margins will be coming slightly under pressure because of consolidation of DUSA and URL, which are typically low margin business as compared to the standalone Sun Pharma business. Cipla, on the other hand, we are expecting weak set of numbers. Revenues will be up 11%, profits will be down 22%, and margins will be come in at almost 24% versus 31% that we saw last year. Mainly domestic business, we are expecting a growth of just 5 to 7% on the issue of destocking that is happening, and the export markets will grow at 18 to 20%. Metro will be aided, and that is why revenues will be up on the counter. Dimesta exclusivity will aid revenues of the company, and margins will be much lower given the fact that the R&D spends will be much higher this time around.
Okay, Darshan, leave it at that. Sandeep, what's it looking like on the charts for Sun Pharma and Cipla?
Well, I am not very clear on both. I would wait for some lower levels to buy in. Cipla in the range of 400 to 380. Sun Pharma also has moved up quite a lot. Not to say that it is that weak that warrants a sell-off. I won't say that. But if I have to buy this stock, I am not very comfortable. I would wait for a 560, 565 level to buy into. So at lower levels, a good buy, not at the current levels, both of the stocks.
Some other key numbers include, well, the largest PSU bank, State Bank of India. Profits are likely to decline about 20% on a YY basis. NIMs are likely to dip quarter on quarter as well. I think more importantly, the market will now be cautious on SBI after what PNB has showed. Just probably a precursor of what large PSU banks could do. BPCL, I mean, GRMs will be under pressure unless there are some exceptionals. Don't see too much of fireworks coming in out there. And ONGC, again, a muted set of numbers, though the weak rupee will probably cushion the numbers for ONGC. Last but not the least is M&M, and there the profit is seen up close to 3% on account of higher income, but revenue is likely to drop 7% on lower UV sales, and the commentary on the outlook ahead would be key for Mahindra & Mahindra. So those are some key earnings to watch out for. What about stocks that you can buy into come next week? Prakash, broader market space, if you've looked at anything that you like from a 6-month to a 1-year perspective, any one stock?
Yeah, we were talking about pharma, and I've chosen Jubilant Life Sciences. This is a business I like particularly because given the kind of contraction in margins that some of the bulk producer, the API guys would start facing, this is a company that has a very good portfolio of the services part, also the CRAMS business, and I think that's where the demand for volumes will start kind of getting more visible. Look at this with a decent 30-35% kind of an upside in the next 6 to 9 months. I think it's definitely a winner.
Sandeep, on that note, let's get going on your trading calls as well for Monday morning.
I have a buy in a Biocon with a stop loss of 360, target of 405. I think Biocon is likely to do what Oro Pharma did this week. So I am hopeful the pattern is very, very clear. The second call is a buy in Arvind, which gave a good move today. I mean, I would buy it with a stop loss of 105 and a target of 135 over the next week or so. And a sell in the banking space, Axis Bank, I'm not very comfortable. The pattern is looking a little bearish. At higher levels can be sold with a stop loss of 1155, target of 1060.
Quick 30 seconds. Out of the 3 or 4 key numbers next week, the likes of ONGC, BPCL or a Mahindra & Mahindra, which one would you watch out for the most?
M&M. M&M is a clear winner, and I can tell you will probably surprise the street with some very pleasant earnings announcements as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. A confident Prakash Devan on Mahindra & Mahindra. Thanks so much, Prakash, as well as Sandeep, for joining in today and giving us that perspective on the markets at large and your trading recommendations. But with that, it's a wrap on this leg of your trades from Ash and myself and the team that put the show together. Thanks so much for watching.